want you to show me how to get to know.
So if you are a Nikon Z50 user like me, you'd probably be in a really weird place right now. Sometimes to the point whereby we feel even neglected and sad and lonely. It's been 14 months since the Nikon Z50 was released. A really nice, brilliant, high quality camera with great ergonomics, great video specs meant for vloggers specifically. Hence, they use the flip down screen like this. They expect all vloggers to actually vlog handheld for some reason. But a really brilliant camera in my opinion, one of the best cameras for its price among any in the market right now. But it's been 14 months, guys. We got 2 zoom lenses, that's about it, 0 prime lenses. And the Nikon Z50, which, you know, is a vlogging camera, like I said, is the only one that does not have IBIS, in-body image stabilization. The Nikon Z5, the Nikon Z6, Z6 II, Z7, Z7 II all have IBIS, and the Nikon Z50 uses electronic image stabilization. Is it good when working with a VR lens like the kit lens? Yes, it's pretty good, but this camera being specifically more on the video side of things rather than the photography side of things, eventually we would want a prime lens with a wide aperture and maybe wide angle for vlogging purposes. But even if you don't vlog, even if you just wanted to shoot video, come on Nikon, give us a prime lens with a wide aperture and with optical image stabilization. So far in Nikon's prime lens history, there are no prime lenses, whether it's the F line or the Z line, they don't have OIS for their prime lenses. Aside from all the telephoto lenses, I think the shortest focal length that they have for a prime lens with OIS is 85 millimeters. And if we use the 85 millimeters, even if we wanted to spend the additional money to get something like the FTZ adapter, which is super expensive, guys, the only reason why I bought this is because I bought the Nikon Z6 II. This costs about 150 to 200 bucks, guys. We bought the Nikon Z50 because we were on a budget. We wanted to do videos, vlogging on the cheap, but 200 bucks really, and we have to resort to spending the additional money to buy probably a Nikon Z full frame lens, which is really expensive, or we have to use the FTZ adapter and get a Nikon F mount lens, which again, they don't have any wide angle prime lenses with wide aperture. Like I said, shortest is 85 millimeters, guys. So where do we go from here, Nikon Z50 users? The next lens on the DX range for the Nikon Z lenses is the 18 to 104 millimeters. So again, another zoom lens. They didn't specify the aperture, but I'm sure it's not going to be lower than f3.5, guys. So what I did is I decided to go out and test the Nikon Z50 with the 24 millimeters f1.8 Nikkor Z lens. This lens is a full frame lens that I use on my Nikon Z6 II. Just to test it out, 24 millimeters on this crop sensor Nikon Z50 would be about 36 millimeters full frame equivalent. But yeah, I did take out the money. It cost about 900 bucks, more expensive than the body itself. But is it any good? Like I said, the prime lens, this prime lens does not have optical image stabilization, so we only depend on the EIS on the Z50. Like I said, on the kit lens, everything works brilliant. The VR, you can shoot video handheld and stuff, photographs, whatever it is. But sometimes we just want a wider aperture prime lens for shooting cinematic videos or films or something like that, which I do quite a lot. But I've never been able to do that with the Z50 because of the lack of lenses available. So today's video, I just want to show you some photographs and videos that I took on this specific setup, Nikon Z50 body with the 24 millimeters full frame Nikkor Z lens. Is it any good? We'll find out after this. After this, I'm going to show you some videos and photo samples that I took, some real world photos and video samples that I took while bringing my kids down to the park. Now I come to the point whereby I tell you straight up that this specific setup, 24 plus the Z50, which is a 36mm full frame equivalent, will appeal or be practical to a really small amount of audience. The reason why I said that, okay, first of all, the main group of people that Nikon targeted were the vloggers. So vlogging, if you have a screen like this, means that they want you to vlog handheld, because if you put a tripod on the bottom, it's going to block the screen. So vlogging on this lens is not going to work, because 36mm focal length handheld, your face is going to be right up in the camera. You can check it out. That was when my hand was totally stretched out. And again, no OIS, just depending on the EIS, you can see how shaky the video, aside from my face covering the whole screen. So for vloggers, out of the question. For YouTubers, this will work. The YouTubers, you don't have to tilt down the screen. You can get a monitor if you want to spend additional money. The cheapest probably about 100 US, or you can get a $10 mirror to put it on the hot shoe mount. That works really well. I have it. I can leave the link in the description. A $10 mirror for doing YouTube videos. This will be a really expensive YouTube camera in my opinion. They're almost coming up to about 1,800 US for this setup for doing a YouTube videos. If you want to spend the additional money, which none of us will, for YouTubers that would be fine. You'll be on a tripod, so you won't be moving around, so the EIS will be good enough. Next up, for the handheld video shooters, it's not gonna work. Check out the video, guys. So the EIS works well with the kit lens because that has vibration reduction, or OIS. This does not. So even if you do normal panning and if you're just holding it in your hand, sometimes a little bit of movement, you can see a lot of jerk, a lot of shake. So if you're going out to the park like me, or maybe you're filming someone, filming a birthday party or something like that, the video is going to be really shaky. Especially people like me who like to film the kids, you know, going out to the park and stuff. We don't normally bring a tripod. Just bring a camera, film the kids playing. Handheld for video is going to be really bad. So I suggest not really a good camera setup for this. It would be really shaky. Plus 36mm, it would be too near. Probably if you're shooting at an event or filming your kids playing at the park or something, they normally like to run up to you quite near. So 36 will definitely be not wide enough for you to actually have really good video, and especially when it's shaking so much. So for the handheld shooters, that will be a no-go. For the people on gimbals, that would make more sense. This is a really nice size weighted setup. Like for myself, I use a lot of gimbals. I have the Ronin SC, the Weebill S, the Feitek AK2000S. Really nice weighted setup to fit your gimbal. But again, for those of you guys who are on a budget, spending another $300 to $400 on a gimbal wouldn't really make any sense. But if you do have the budget, save up, get a gimbal. You know, this, or like I said, already costs 1,800 US. So if you want to get a gimbal, that brings it up to 2,100 US. So the next set of users will be the photography users. One thing, this setup for photography, it's perfectly fine. The EIS is strong enough. Really nice. You can take a look at photographs. Really nice, sharp, clear images. Sometimes I feel that it's over sharpened if you shoot in auto mode. I don't really shoot in auto mode, but I just tested out the auto mode. I really over sharpened, too much saturation. Normally I would shoot in aperture priority mode and just play around with the f-stop. And I always shoot in flat picture profile on my Nikon cameras because that is the best and most natural colors. They should make that flat picture profile their standard color, if you ask me, in my opinion. Really nice, natural, good color signs. If you want to do color grading, it's so much easier as well. So yeah, like I said, for photographers, this will be pretty good. Over sharpened at times, too much saturation, and good stabilization if you're hand holding it. So for photographers, it's good. But what kind of photographers? If you're a landscape photographer, 36mm won't be wide enough for your landscape photography. So landscape photographers, in my opinion, will normally go 24mm and below, full frame equivalent. This won't do. So landscape photographers are out. Portrait photographers, normally they shoot 70 to 100 millimeters kind of focal range. This won't do as well. This is only a 36mm, as I mentioned, full frame equivalent. So that will be an issue as well. Of course, you can shoot the portraits in this 36, but like I said, normally people shoot 70 and above to get that really nice shallow depth of field. Shallow depth of field, coming to this, you can check out the photograph, isn't as nice as a lot of other cameras, lenses that I use. For example, this 16 f1.4 Sigma lens that I'm using on my Panasonic G9. Really nice bokeh. This one, it is alright, but not as nice as a lot of other cameras that I've used. So portrait photographers, you can, but not recommended if you were to ask me, in my opinion. So portrait photographers, we can strike them off as well. Wildlife, you can forget about it. Sports, you can forget about it. The only group of people that I think would find this specific setup worth it to buy are the street photographers, because street photographers, they normally shoot around 28 to 40 millimeters, so 35, 36 millimeters. Really good for street photography. And like I said, this even if you shoot in automatic mode, it's a lot of sharpening, a lot of saturation. So that's how a lot of street photographers would like to take their photographs. So this would, in my opinion, be in the right focal length. The aperture goes from 1.8 all the way to 16, so really nice as well. If you want to get bokeh, if you want to get nice infinite focus as well, I can shoot at f12, f16, no issues. But if you wanted some, low light shots, you can shoot at f1.8, f2.8, and also get the shallow depth of field. So in summary, basically, this specific setup will be only appropriate for the street photographers and also the YouTubers like myself. But really, if you want to YouTube on this camera, there's so many other options. The video quality is, like I said, really good on the Z50. So YouTube camera and street photographers. Other than that, I don't think this expensive setup will be useful or practical to a lot of other users. Anyway, the bottom line is, if you wanted to shoot photographs, you might as well get the Nikon Z5, guys. If you are on a budget, get the Nikon Z5 full frame with OIS. You can fit any of the lenses. Yeah, so the question is, where do we go from here, guys? Nikon Z50, we're stuck here in the middle with two lenses. And like I said, if you want to get the FTZ adapter, spend another 200 bucks. It opens up a lot of other options for using the F lens mounts. You got the DX, which is really cheap. For vloggers especially, if you get the FTZ, you probably can get the Nikon DX 10 to 20 millimeters. That's what I'm aiming for. But again, lack of aperture there for filming videos and movies and stuff. So, and all their Nikon F prime lenses also don't have OIS. So I just hope, Nikon, if you're watching this, can you come up with something with vibration reduction or OIS, basically, wide angle 16 millimeters and below. Or if you're talking full frame equivalent, hopefully Nikon, you can come up with a 24 millimeters and below, maybe an f2.8 and below. And also, most importantly, with OIS for us videographers. And Nikon Z50 users just like me, hang on and hope for the best that Nikon wakes up and actually realizes they've forgotten all about us, the Z50 users. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notifications button. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.